would be the cover picture.
Cover picture. Okay. Sorry?
Magic.
It's live. No, let me know.
It's okay.
It's live.
Okay. Too much or not?
It's good.
Oh, put that one, turn it. You have started already?
You started.
Ah. Then you have to edit. Om Sthapakaya cha dharmasya sarvadharma sarupine avatar varishtaya Ramakrishnaya te namaha. So, we'll be on Narada's way of divine love, and our reading will start today on the verse number 6 on page 33. So, just to recapitulate what we have already read, first of all, this today's subject, if you want, what will be the subject? You can mention today's subject as what happens after having the parabhakti, one attaining the supreme love, what happens to you? What is the gain in it? Why you have to do so much practice, repetition of the God's name, detachment, and all these virtues? Why? What for? You will achieve something which is impossible to have it in any other way. That is the beauty of this bhakti. So what is attained by this bhakti parabhakti? So we have talked about the same topic yesterday, two, three verses. First of all, we read again what is bhakti. That is to be explained in the first verse. Second verse we talked about what is that bhakti. That bhakti is the parama prema rupa. It is of the nature of the love, devotion, or of the level of deepest, profound love, extreme love. That's the nature of this bhakti, not any mundane affection, but it is that parama prema rupa, supreme prem, devotion, love in God. And the third verse we read, what should be its nature? Its nature is Amrita Sarupa. This love is not like worldly love. In worldly love, there is joy today, there is suffering tomorrow, the same experience of different types of suffering, pleasure, pain, all these dualities come. But when you get this supreme love, it will be what? Amrita. It will be like nectar. You attain perfection, you attain fulfillment. So that will be the nature of your love. This love, its essential nature is amrita, it is nectar. There is no dryness, there is no monotony, there is no frustration, there is no reaction, which in contrary in the worldly love, all these are there. But in spiritual love, it is of the nature of amrita, perfect. And when one attains, what it becomes on the fourth verse, Yallabdva Puman Siddho Bhavati, he becomes perfected, attaining which one becomes amrita, again nectar, and one becomes perfectly satisfied. There is no such thing in material world which can give anyone a perfect satisfaction. As much one gains, more is to be gained. more is necessary. So that should be continuously in the heart of the person, will be craving for something more. You get whatever you get, you want a little more of it. But when you attain this love, there is nothing more or beyond that. That was the fourth verse. And the last day we read this verse, attaining which yat prapyo nakinchit vanchati, attaining which you don't desire for anything more. Vancha means desire. Nothing more to desire, na shuchati, nothing more to lament. Oh, I did so much, but I didn't get it yet. When shall I do? There is no such shoka, means there is no such grief. And not dvesti, there is no such enmity. This, because I got some money, somebody may be competing with me to grab that. I am getting in my scientific research one success, another person is competing with me. So there is competition. But here, no one is your competitor. When you attain that, you attain, means you feel that. You are absorbed in that. There is no competitor there. Because who will compete? He, if it's real competitor, then he will also be absorbed in God. So his ego is dissolved. So his ego is dissolved. My ego is dissolved. So who will compete with whom? Competition comes in the mind of person who has the understanding ego sense, or what you call the
Insecurity.
insecurity. True. There will be no insecurity. Why insecurity? You secured everything. You got everything. And not to be gone from you. You got it forever. Now utsahi bhavati. Then in life, even whatever one attains, they have the desire to do something more. I'll be doing this. I've done this part, I'll do that part. Is not excited for doing anything more extra. So now utsahi bhavati. Now today we are on the verse number 6. That says the same continues. Result of this love. Jajgatva matto bhavati. One becomes matta, intoxicated. Stabdho bhavati. Sometimes become fully satisfied within himself, perfectly calm and serene. Like a, yes, as if Ramakrishna used to go to these stages. Sometimes he's dancing in ecstasy, no? Matto bhavati. Girish Babu, seeing that intoxication only, he questioned this. What is this? Matto bhavati. Matto means when one drinks, then as a result of too much drinking, when he cannot manage anything, no? He cannot say no, no. Even tongue stops for them. We have seen people who get in too much drunk. They are without any control of themselves. So Jadgat, and that gives him the joy. Future in time, they want that type of absorption. Here, if you get this devotion, that absorption will come. Mattu. That means a person will be intoxicated to that degree, no? As if he will be stabdho bhavati. That means he will be like a stiff person, stiff, or it may be like a fascinated into it, as it were. He will be totally in that fascination that he is totally dull. I mean, like he Thakur in deep samadhi, that body will be like a dead body. He will get absorbed and go into that state of almost motionless, breathless. And then Atma Ramu Bhavati. Oh, I have told you that he will be like a dull person or motionless. He will be like a stone. No, no. He'll be swimming in bliss. This is a dull person. It does not move. So you become spiritual and intoxicated in God does mean that you will be like a piece of stone or block of wood. But wood does not move. Block of wood, block of stone does not move. No, it is ineffable joy. It is, that's why they call Atma Ramu Bhavati. It dwells in bliss in its own self. You don't need anybody to give you joy. You need no one's support, no one to smile at you, no one to be kind to you. You feel that you are so saturated in the joy of yourself. See, Vedantic term, it's a bhakti school. Bhakti is, we always make a distinction. This is bhakti and this is jnana. Na? Jnana bhakti are all words, but experience is the same. They become Atma Ramu Bhavati. In the Upanishad says, when one goes to Mano, Bhak, Mano, beyond mind, what they become? They become full of bliss only. Ananda, Ananda Sarupa. So in the Upanishads, that much description is there. What they become full of joy. So these are the 3 points he has been mentioned in verse number 6. You can keep it there on the table.
Oh, I
So
usually
that-
forget everything.
No, sound will be there.
Time,
It is catching the sound.
pain in my shoulder.
Just leave it here.
Thank you, remind me. Thank you,
Somebody
sir.
spent.
So this is the result of attaining this bhakti. First of all, the sage Narada is just presenting before us what is bhakti like. That is the uniqueness of these scriptures. They give us idea of the end result of your practice. You are now practicing this devotion, renouncing this, or not interested in the world anymore. People will think you are too much spiritual, getting off this blame from useless people, those who don't do anything in your life, in whole life, only comes to give you advice. They will say, but what you will gain? These are the gain. You will be just prapyo. You will have no desire to crave for anything. You will be not having any sochati. You don't have nothing to grieve about. No dvesti. You have no find any competitor, enemy, and no ramate. You have nothing to rejoice or to be active, to gain something more, do something extra. And as you said, bhakto, you become intoxicated. No? Intoxicated in such bliss that people will be thinking, oh my God, we are all searching for a little touch of joy, and this person is saturated, overflowing with joy. His container does not contain anymore. Like you put honey, sometimes honey overflows on both sides. How is that? Overflowing honey. Madhu vataritayate. In the wind there is honey. Where is honey for us? Madhu ksharanti sindhava. In the stream of the ocean water there is honey. He says that honey everywhere. So that will be the achievement. That matto will be intoxicated in that honey. Stabdho. Sometimes he will be just dead, as it were. Samadhi, nirvikalpa samadhi. It is the same example, samadhi. It is not that not telling, I am saying it is samadhi, stabdho. And then atmaram. And that stabdho means not like a dead body, as Ramakrishna. Dr. Sarkar is coming, testing his pulse, find that it is dead body. Just like all the symptoms of dead body. But Ramakrishna is internally totally absorbed in blissful state. There's nothing to expect. And with much effort, he comes down with some little desire. Long time. You have to make an effort to come back. Such a place. Oh, there is a song after our sadhus die in Belun Math. There is that song. Oi je dekha jai anando dham apurva shobhana. What a beautiful place is that. Oh, look at that beyond this cane of this world and worldliness. And what a sweet melody is coming from there. Ki Shudhamayo Gan. There's melodious music is coming from there. Ki Shudhamayo Gan. Gahiche Suragana. The gods and angels are singing that song. And it's an indescribable joy. No? So that will be the experience inside going on. And outside is sometimes. And Ramakrishna said that sometimes these people become like a dull. Sometimes they jump in joy and excitement. Sometimes they become like a child. Sometimes they become like a ghoul. There is no limitation in their behavior, but it is all because of the inebriation in the joy of the bliss of the inner self. No? So we call Atman, but Bhaktas will not say so. They will use another term. But in the Narada, who is the teacher, he is saying Atma Ramo. All dualistic people, Krishna devotees will explain his Atma is Krishna. You can do that, no problem. But he could have written Krishna Ramo Bhavati. But why is saying Atma Ramo Bhavati? Putting the knower of spiritual truth talk the same way. We make our own explanation according to fit in our argument and our limit, our school of thought, our pamper, our policy. That we are Vedantins, we are devotees, we are Krishna Bhaktas, we are Hari Bhaktas, we are Ram Bhaktas, we are Allah Bhaktas. So this is our explanation. But Atmaramo, he's saying, Atman, you become absorbed in your own self. How can you explain it in any other way? Straightforward meaning, Atma, Arama, Arama. Arama means you rest in peace and joy. As we go, oh, I'm going for a rest, I'm tired. Arama, that's Arama means rest. Rest in the Atmanandi. People say, oh, you are explaining Vedantic way. No, I'm not explaining. It is the book is saying Atma Rama. And they are saying it is intoxicating love. And they are saying they become sometimes just still dumb. Or apparently outside, and they don't talk, they don't express anything, but be in that way. And that joy is of the joy of the Atman. A good, very interesting way to hear about these things. No? These are possible. These are possibilities of practicing devotion. Now, so let me go to the book then, page 33, 6th verse at the bottom. So the devotee may first become intoxicated with bliss. Then, after getting intoxicated, what happens? Having realized that love, realizing means, what realizing means? Experiencing in every pore of the body. No? Realizing means what? Realization is one thing, seeing is one thing. Realizing means absorbing that. So realize that he becomes inert. Inert means as if non-movement. At that point he becomes totally full. Sri Chaitanya used to go to this intoxicated state. First start standing and start with the Harinam, Hare Krishna, and the whole congregation will be gradually tuned up. And then he goes, he dances in such a way, he totally lost himself. And after some time, they become like a Thakur. He used to just be lost into anything. And people used to Swarup Damodar and others used to hold him. Like Ramakrishna, Hridaya used to hold, otherwise he fall down. And no one can touch. Those who are very worldly minded people, they touch, then they get mad. Mad means because he has to come down. He feel a pain. Scorpions biting. That's why the pure soul can hold. Baburam Maharaj was allowed to hold Ramakrishna when he goes into that intoxicated. Hridayaram, whatever maybe we see later on, but see, he has that purity, that Ramakrishna had to hold him in that ecstatic mood. Also, Hridayaram Thakur taught him how to bring the mind down from samadhi to the level of ordinary. That Ramakrishna taught him. So, only few people, special people can hold him because he's inert and dull now. So, it says that, so the devotee first become intoxicated in that bliss. Then, having realized that, he becomes inert and silent. And third, takes his delight in the Atman. There is nothing but the Atman. As I say, he's swimming in the ocean of bliss only. In his own self. Yeah, you need not want anybody to be supporting you or to fill up the gap of your unfulfilled wish and desire. So now let us see the what explanation. Explanation is how many pages? Yeah, 2 to 4, 5, almost 6 pages explanation. Okay, so we'll go through that. Before I explain the aphorism, let me point out that there is no uniform standard of external conduct or behavior that can be applied to a perfected person, perfect man. Generally, people judge a holy man by their own standard of how they think he should act and behave. Normally, we judge. He's a holy man. Why he is doing like that? Ha ha ha. He is not. He's a fake guy. Before understanding that, but there is no standard formula that how a holy man will behave. Because they are free. Because they live in their own intoxicated mood and whatever their intention they can do unaffected. And we judge, oh, he smiles, being a sadhu. When Swami Vivekananda came over here, no. Swamiji was joking and smiling, and then, because ministers should be great, no? Yeah, you're a minister, so you should not smile. Now, Swami Vivekananda said, yes, I also become like dark face or black face or very that type of grey face when my stomach aches. But sadhu or a holy man will smile. But you cannot smile. Sometimes he may not smile. Huh? How he behaves? He says, sadhu is doing like that. That may also be that. But that means our expectation we are putting on this. Of course, we are talking about these extraordinary people. No, not in those are not found in streets, in the street corners of Hollywood or a marketplace. You cannot go and find a God-intoxicated person in the public places. But wherever there is some public, even Ramakrishna, why we read Niranjanananda Swami's life yesterday. Niranjanananda Swami was going by a boat. And all the people in the boat, they are going across the river or wherever. And he happened to be there. And they started criticizing Ramakrishna. Ramakrishna is a crazy guy and this and that. Don't go to that person. He's such a idiosyncratic person. And then Niranjan got angry and he started to rock the boat and sink it. You don't stop, otherwise I'll sink the whole boat. That means there are people who are criticizing Ramakrishna. Why? Because Ramakrishna do not conform to the expectation of the person, how a holy person will talk, smile, eat. He does not, then he is not. So that's why he says, the holy man.
They expect that sadhus will be vegetarian.
Oh, vegetarian, sadhus would have ashes on their body, sadhus should not use nice clothing, should not eat nice food, sadhu should live under the tree, and sadhu is working in the aeroplane, sadhu is going in the first class train. Of course, sadhu should not, but those sadhu have to work. Eh? They are not only sadhu plus worker also. When our president, last president, he was then that time assistant general secretary, Swami Atmasthananda Maharaj. He came here.
Yes.
The youth convention is going on, and Swamiji is talking about love for all, serve all, and do this. And one young man, and the communist movement is also little going on there. He wrote, didn't speak out, wrote a cheat. But the sadhus, that means hinting him, only they cannot move without car. We are ordinary people, we are walking, and you say we are equal. You go by plane, you go by first class train. And he said, okay, who has written this question? Please stand up. I do not know whether somebody stood up or not. And then he started answering. Yes, we are not sadhus only, but you have to work. The level of activity I do at this age, I need to go by first class and air condition only. I will just get down from there and I go to the government office, meet the minister, talk to these people to have some issues of our institutions, universities, colleges, this, that. Yes, I am old guy. Suppose it happens to a minister. Do you question why a minister goes in first class train in India? Why they go always in the plane? Why do always 3 cars are waiting for them? They work. We are not only sadhus, but we work for more than anyone. And we don't get any salary or anything. So, anyhow, so they say in another way. But we are talking here another level, that everyone expects according to my condition. I think this is my imagination. This will be a holy person. But these realized people don't conform to our way of thinking. They are free. So a holy man, the holy man by their own standard and how they think he should act and behave. A holy man is bound by no conventions, but one thing is sure, but the inner experience of all illumined souls at the highest level of consciousness is one and the same. By the Hindus, be they are Hindus, be Christians, Muslims, or Jews. When you go to the extreme of every religion, experience when they go, it is bliss and bliss and bliss there. When they come down, they behave according to their past practice. The body engine, it is habituated to work in one way, interact one way. But in the inner, inside, is totally saturated in God consciousness. So anyone, externally, however, they may appear like ordinary men attending to their daily duties. Sri Ramakrishna described a perfect soul in the following manner. What he said? Ramakrishna said, sometimes he will act like a 5-year-old child, or he may seem intoxicated or mad, or he may be apparently inert, silent, and motionless. He is not bound by any law of code, but nothing he does will be immoral and unethical. Come to the point. Many cheat people will be caught here. You are a spiritual person. Oh, I can do whatever I like. Oh, but do whatever you like. Don't do any immoral activity. If you do, then whatever you fake, these are all fake. We are seeing that attaining which he does not crave for anything. And why you go for immoral activity? That means you have not entered into the spiritual life. Taking this statement, many fake people take the liberty. I am illumined. I can have 7 Rolls Royce. I can have all these people around me and I can enjoy. Nothing affects me. That means why are you going? That means you are imperfect. You need them. Why will you go? If you get 1 billion, why will you go for 10 rupees, 20 rupees? These are like in comparison, if we say the bliss of God realization, the bliss of para bhakti, supreme love, versus the love for getting sensate experience or eating good food, dancing, singing. These are all so little. Why you will be interested in it? That means you have not got something higher. That's why be careful. Here is the warning that sadhu, or sadhu means we are talking about bhakta, devotee. Devotee who is intoxicated in God internally, their character, that should be pure. That's why nothing he does will be immoral or unethical. His actions and motives are selfless without his trying to be selfless. Just as a flower emits its flower. They naturally be, they don't want to pose that I am unselfish. I am unselfish. See how I am not thinking of. They will not do. The spontaneous behavior will show that they have nothing selfishness they are doing. That's why in our order we said that our sadhus get good scolding. When they get good scolding from some senior sadhu, many could not tolerate. They say, he's a monk, he's a holy man, and he gets mad every now and then, getting angry. How can a man can be angry? Their anger is for my good, to make me perfect. Because they have no selfishness. That can be understood. A person who loves me selflessly, their action, and the person who have selfish motivation, those can be understood. Difference can be understood. But he has no selfish motivation, but he does whatever for the good of others. Because we do all our actions are centered around our motivation, what I want, whether I get it or not. So here said that I have also seen how illumined souls may seem harder and thunder. Then who is saying this? I means Swami Prabhupada, this writer of the book. He says, I have also seen, because he saw the Ramakrishna's direct disciples, holy people, Brahmananda, Shivananda, he's talking about that. So I have seen such people may seem harder when they talk, they are very rude, unkind, thunder, as if they are piercing me. Though in their inner nature they are tender than the petals of a flower. So soft inside, appears so hard outside. Brahmananda Maharaj used to say, if I love you and you know that, then what type of love? It is a fake show. I love you, and I show you love. Showing business is little outside. Love will be so profound that any show business is not there. It should be understood. Noyane je aigo chena. There is some songs. You love someone, eye contact can tell. People look at that. Oh, they are in love. See how they are looking at each other. Is it not? In our mundane day-to-day life, teenage love, first love at first sight, how they do? Something goes on in the eyes. Expert people know, there is something going on. Is it not? Romantic love.
Romantic.
First love. Oh, Baba, how they look at each
And the
other.
couple went to Ramanuja's place.
Yeah.
He could
Right. She's reminding of Ramanuja's place. There was one Hemamba and her boyfriend and girlfriend. So there is a festivity going on in Ramanuja.
mathematician.
No, that no. It's Sadhu Ramanuja Acharya. Shankara, Ramanuja, Madhava, Madhacharya, Ramanuja Acharya. So, and the whole day festivity going on, and there is Krishna's temple, and but one young boy and girl, they're so interested with each other. So they gone to the festivity, but they are not pertaining to the program, not taking the prasad, and they're so Ramanuja observed this and then called that, hey, come. What is the matter? You are whole day, you have not taken any prasad or you have not participated in any music. But why you are here but not? Then he said, what do you find? The girl, he asked the Hemamba, the girl, what do you find in the boy? Oh, Swami, you don't understand. His eyes are so beautiful, charming. You don't understand. Then he said, yes, is it so? If I show you much beautiful eyes, will you give up this? No, that is impossible. There cannot be any other beautiful eyes rather than that of that my friend, no? And then, okay, that much he heard from her. And then he asked that boy. Then he said, why? Why are you in the morning onward? You're like intoxicated person running after the girl. What is that? Oh, she's beautiful. See her hair. See her. I'm describing what honestly. I said, what? If I show you something more beautiful? Well, it is impossible. There cannot be anything better than her. Okay. Then he said that, okay, you come in the evening time and see me. When there will be evening prayer, just come to me. I'll show you something. No, you cannot show us. I understand. But not still you come. So in the evening time, the Arati was going on. And Ramanuja, being a realized soul, he said, look. And he looked at the Krishna and Ranganath. The Ranganath ji looking at that, and look at the eyes. And he said, oh my God. She's overwhelmed. And the boy, beauty. So both of them, they say, what will you do now? Please teach me this life so that I will be like a monk. And she said, I will be like a nun. That story goes on differently. But the point is that, yes, there is higher beauty. But the love at first sight beauty is like that. No, there is nothing better than this. So we get back again into it. No? But that's the love. Real love is that love which does not know any return, wants any return. It's like a hard outside, it will be coated with hardness. Internally, it will be full of love. He has given tender than the petals of flower, harder than that. My own master, means Brahmananda, would sometimes scold me vehemently. Yet I always knew in my heart of hearts that he was correcting me because he loved me. Who corrects you? Who cares for you? He will scold you. Huh? I used to think that. There are so many other brahmacharis and I get their scolding every day. For little something I do, someone is doing more, they are not attending the class or they are little late, they come, but the Gita to be memorized every day. Huh? So everyone will be shouting, someone is looking in this side and chanting, I'm just doing like that, and occasionally, and this, I am the most culprit. You have not memorized it, so you get a good. Entire class will be enjoying at the cost of me. And others are enjoying. One day I asked him, Maharaj, you don't tell anybody. This brahmachari came late than me. But you didn't say. But I was in the hostel. I had to come little 2 minutes late. You scolded me heavily. Acha. And it continues. In between, again and again, it will come back to the scolding. And then, I memorized, but I forgot a little bit. I was looking at the book. Others are all looking at the book and chanting 2 Gita verses to be memorized every day. That was our duty. And so, along with old one, your father, you don't forget. Anyhow, and I get the scolding. Then he said, yes, I want that you should, after very pausing for some time, he said, I want you to be perfect. I don't want to be like them. Then he is concerned about me. That's why he is scolding. But how many people can take it? Scolding, misbehavior in front of insult, in front of others. Very young people know. I have some ego. You can tell me in private, but you are telling in front of all. So those things go on. But we now understand. Today we understand, looking back to that condition, how much they are loved. Why they take care of me is not necessary. He could have ignored. It's not necessary that I am to be perfected. Let me be what I am. But no, they want us to be perfected, to be a better person. So
Even Sri
how much we
Ramakrishna,
do it, how much we get it, that's our imperfections are corrected or not. It's my fault. But their kindness, actually their scolding was their kindness.
Sri Ramakrishna, you were telling that day that moved his feet when Ramakrishna went to offer pranam.
No, I don't remember that.
Ramakrishna went to Shashi Maharaj, went to do pranam to Sri Ramakrishna the first day, so he didn't allow him to touch
Oh.
his feet.
Yeah.
Just to taste that whether he has that ego.
Mm.
The second day, the person may not come if he has the ego. Oh, Sri Ramakrishna moved, his feet are not going second time.
Maybe so. There are so many stories in Sri Ramakrishna's life and the devotees. Yeah. Now that is Surendra's story is there. Surendra brought a beautiful garland for Thakur's birthday, costing 10 rupees in those days. And he think that Thakur will appreciate it. With the pride he came, and Thakur was dancing and singing in Dakshineshwar, so many people, and then he just came and put that garland in his neck, and he immediately took out that garland and threw away. And so feeling so bad. And Suren is a rich person, and he loves Ramakrishna. And then he said, "Oh, he does not like me. I came in a birthday to celebrate his birthday, and I love him so much. One garland, 10 rupees means an hour will be $100 or more maybe, contextually. And he threw away, insulting. I don't care. And then he went away and he was sobbing and crying and weeping to himself. And then he said, okay, I will not stay here. So I'll go. So he came back and went from a distance to salute and go away. And when just he was entering, suddenly in this ecstatic mood, Ramakrishna dancing and saw that in his neck, that same garland is hanging. And Sri Ramakrishna had taken himself on his own neck. He was then overwhelmed. Cause is that he has little ego. I am purchasing such a big, costly thing. He will appreciate in all front. Hey, Suren, he has brought this for me. See how much love he has. Rather, he crushed my ego. When I cried and wept in the silence, my ego being washed away, then he showed his Lord Narayana. So he's God himself. He understood, now my purpose is done. Ego is now destroyed. And he used that. So this is the love. To die. Who is our real love? Who gives us only physical sweets and rasagullas and other things, or gives us spiritual correction, eternal life? No. So this is the internally. Of course, everything is to be understood from that. My own master would sometimes scold me vehemently, yet I always knew that he has the loving heart for me, correcting me because he loved me. He said to me one day, the mother holds the baby on her lap and spanks it, and the baby cries, mother and mother. No? So then that is the first point. So their behavior will be different. That is the first point. Now he becomes intoxicated. What does it mean? There is a line in a song by Ram Prasad, a devotee of Divine Mother, says, my mind is intoxicated because I have drunk the nectar at the blessed feet of Mother. But to a drunkard, I seem to be drunkard. Oh yeah, that Ramakrishna sang that day when Girish first came. What brand of wine he has procured, he has taken, Ramakrishna has taken? That was the Girish's question. Because Ramakrishna was so intoxicated. Then he said, Ami Surapan Korinayami Shudha Khai Jai Kali Bole. I drink the nectar of Makali's name, which is like nectar. I don't drink ordinary drink, the liquid drink, but I take the name of Mother And that mother's name intoxicates me and my whole being. Huh? Ordinary drink, people who drinks, people say he is drunkard. But why drink the name of the Holy Divine Mother? That intoxicates my mind, not the physical body. But it percolates to the physical body. They drink outside, that intoxicates their body. And that body reels like that. But I drink the nectar, that wine of mother's name, that intoxicates my mind. And that manifests to the physical body. That's why it is so profound and deep. Now, in the Chandogya Upanishad, we find a passage which symbolically expresses the idea of spiritual drunkenness in the following way. What it says in the Chandogya: in the world of Brahman, there is a lake whose waters are like nectar, and whosoever tastes thereof is straightway drunk with joy. And besides that lake is a tree which yield the juice of immortality. They're giving a description that when the spiritual drunkenness is what? It is like they think that there is a vast water lake, which is the Brahman, and whoever tastes little bit, he is the drunkard. He gets drunk. They are straightway drunk with joy. Then he becomes totally intoxicated in joy. And there is a lake. Beside the lake, there is a tree with juice of, and he becomes immortal. In one sense, it becomes amrita, immortal. It becomes drunk, matta, and it becomes one with Brahman. Swami Shivananda, a disciple of Ramakrishna, told us one day, us means Swami Prabhupada and others, they were young boys then, get up early in the morning and meditate and perform japa to your heart's content. That will keep your mind on a higher level. And I myself do that. Shivananda says, I do that, you also do. In the early morning, get up and do your meditation. That will make your mind go in a higher level. I myself do that. I meditate in the morning and the whole day passes, as it were, in intoxication. Because they are realized soul. So when Shivananda Maharaj wakes up and does meditation and comes back, that joy, bliss, remains all through the day. It depends also if someone is really little absorbed in any morning, you see how the whole day goes for you, how blissful you will feel in every action. And when you don't have any concentration or meditation, at a dry day, you do everything like ordinary people does. Let me quote in this connection the description given by a disciple of Brahmananda of the divine inebriation he experienced while he was visiting the temple of Jagannath at Puri. What happened? He has always felt that such an experience was possible to him only through the grace of his Guru and through the grace of the Lord. These are his own words. He is quoting one experience of a monk who went to Jagannath, Puri, Jagannath. So he said, I went on a pilgrimage to the temple of Jagannath with a brother disciple of mine. My two monks went there. One of the priests was our guide. In order to enter in the innermost shrine, one has to go by a passage to the left of the shrine inside the huge temple. As we are about to enter in this passage, I suddenly heard a sound like that of a thunder coming to strike me. I must admit here that I was not approaching the shrine with any special reverence or devotion. Indeed, I was rather dry in my heart. The monk who was going, he has no deep respect for Jagannath. Jagannath is not very attractive also. You have seen Jagannath's form. There is a hand is cut up to a certain point. Eyes are made in the wood, big eyes, no eyelid. So very not very charming.
Made of wood?
Eh, like we were a photograph, we made our image with something, some stone or this is made of wood.
Mm-hmm.
But he was not going with much devotion or love or anything. But suddenly he felt that. What he felt? For a moment, as the thunder actually struck me, I was terrified. But I hold no time to go on being afraid, for I lost consciousness. I faintly heard my brother disciple asking the priest to take hold of my left arm. He himself was already holding my right arm. After they had taken my both arms, I was not conscious that anyone was supporting me. I must have had a little consciousness left in me, though I was not aware who I was or where I was. I felt intoxicated as if I had drunk bottles of wine. And I remember I was dragging my feet. Then as I came nearer the sanctum sanctorium, there arose within me, in English, the word God, 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 although my mother tongue is Bengali. Then a thrill passed through my whole being, and as I entered into the inner shrine, I became completely unconscious of the external world. All I had was an awareness that I was experiencing a vision which suddenly opened up. I do not know if my eyes were open or closed. I do not see the shrine with walls around me, nor did I see the crowd of pilgrims who must have been there, nor did I see the images of the deities of the shrine. I only saw an ocean of light and waves of bliss striking me, which increased in intensity and degraded all description. It becomes such an experience that he only felt. No, in a temple there are hundreds of people in that Puri Jagannath temple. Stone wall, these, that. He does not feel anything. He only felt an ocean of joy, and he is intoxicated into that. I do not know how long I was in that shrine, but I do remember that when I was brought out of the shrine and stood in the open courtyard in the temple, I felt that I was being held by my arms. Then only he understood the two people are holding him by holding his arm. But he was not there. He was totally lost, physical body. Like we go to the people unconscious, no? People say he got unconscious. Holy Ramakrishna mother, when she got the vision that from Shiva Lingam, the wave of light came and entered into her womb, she totally fell down, unconscious. People thought that a ghost has entered into her, but they do not know it is the God has entered into her. Flood of light. So all the experience people have, they have this type of realization. Much later, I asked my brother disciple how he knew that I was about to lose the consciousness. He simply replied, I lived a long time with Maharaj. That's how I knew. Because Maharaj used to go to that state of intoxication. So he also felt that. Indeed, it is impossible to count the number of times that Maharaj and the other disciples of Ramakrishna become intoxicated with the bliss of God. We ourselves have often seen them immersed in that bliss. As for Ramakrishna, he would become intoxicated even by uttering the name of God in any of his aspects. When he went to the temple of Divine Mother and when he returned, he would be so inebriated that a disciple would always be present to hold him. Once a man who didn't know how Sri Ramakrishna saw him, that condition, and remarked, that fellow must be blind drunk. There is a beautiful description of this state in the Gospel of Ramakrishna. In the Gospel of Ramakrishna said, suddenly, not Ramakrishna said, description. Suddenly the master stood up and went into some samadhi, repeating the mother's name, coming down a little to the sense plane. He danced and sang. What he sang? This song, what I chanted only one line. I drink no ordinary wine, but wine of everlasting bliss. As I repeat my mother's Kali's name, it is so intoxicates my mind that people take me to be drunk. First, my guru gives me molasses for making the wine. My longing is the ferment to transform it. Knowledge is the maker of the wine, prepares it for me then, and when it is done, my mind imbibes it from the bottle of the mantra. So he's using the practice what we do. See, he says, I repeat the mother's name, mantra, asking us to repeat the mantra. The song says, I repeat my mother's name, ma, 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 ma. It is so intoxicates. That name generates some intoxication. People take me, look at me, to look at Ramakrishna. Oh, he's a drunk person. First, my guru give me molasses. That means mantra. What guru mantra has given, that is like molasses. For making the wine, to make a wine, they take some such thing and ferment it. So that is guru mantra is the wine. My longing is ferment to transform it. I cry and weep, and that makes ferment it. The wine, the molasses is fermented. Now, knowledge, the maker of wine, then Gyan. God is only real, everything is wrong. Oh mother, you are there, please show you your divine form. This type of knowledge, maker of the wine, it prepares the wine, prepares it for me then. And when it is done, my mind imbibes it from the bottle of the mantra. There is a bottle, and that bottle is filled with mantra. Mantra sparks from them. Taking the mantra, mother's name, to make it pure. Drink of this wine, says Ram Prasad, and the 4 fruits of life are yours. 4 fruits are, okay, 4 are there. It is called the 4 fruits is dharma, artha, kama, moksha. Righteous living, dharma, artha, money. You can get everything. Dharma, artha, kama, desired objects, and moksha, liberation. To utter the name of God, song ends here. To utter the name of God in the devotional literature of Hindus is described as to drink the nectar of the name of God. Similar experience of intoxication with the bliss of God are to be found in the lives of mystics of all religions of the world. In the Setara Upanishad, we read, set fire to the self within by the practice of meditation. Be drunk with the wine of divine love. Thus shall you reach perfection. The Upanishad is also saying the same way, no? Set fire to the self, big self within. How? By practicing meditation. Be drunk in the wine of divine love. Having now the third point, having realized that, what does it mean? Having realized that, I have translated the Sanskrit word gyatva as having realized, because the reality, the eternal beloved one, is forever within the sign of our hearts. He is not obtained from outside ourselves like an object, but kingdom of God within becomes revealed. Christ said, the kingdom of God is within. So you reach that, that's all. You are not to bring it from somewhere else. He may appear inert or silent. This means, this refers to samadhi, the experience of unitary consciousness, which transcends the 3 ordinary states of consciousness. These states we know, waking state now, dream state, and sleep state. Of all the examples of our present age, Sri Ramakrishna is the only one who is known to have entered samadhi many times every day. So I shall describe his condition by quoting from M, who was an eyewitness in the Gospel of Ramakrishna. How Ramakrishna is to go to samadhi. One description of Gospel. Quote, a strange transformation came over Sri Ramakrishna at the sight of Rakhal. His eyes expressed there. Rakhal is our Brahmananda. The utmost tenderness, like the love of Mother Yashoda towards the baby of son Krishna. With intense love in his voice, He uttered the holy name Govinda, Govinda, and went into deep samadhi. The devotees looked at him, struck with wonder. His body was motionless, like a statue. Body became motionless, like a statue. Stabdho bhavati. He becomes like inert. That's the main verse says. Intoxicated, then becomes like inert. Maharaj, so his body become motionless. Ramakrishna's body. His senses and sense organs completely ceased to function like a dead body. His eyes were fixed on the tip of the nose, and his breathing almost ceased. Breath stopped. Quote ends. Sri Ramakrishna also pointed out in one of his talks that the sign of a man who has attained the supreme wisdom is that he becomes silent. When one attains to that, he cannot speak anymore. You get to that joy and you become dumb. You cannot express anything. Shankara says, quote, this state of silence is a state of complete peace in which the intellect ceases to occupy itself with the unreal. In this silence, the great soul who knows and is one with Brahman enjoys unmingled bliss forever. So these are all supportive statements from gospel and other, that you become like a still. But that stillness is full of light, full of joy. So the last point, he takes his delight in the Atman. Ano Atma Ramo Bhavati. That part now explanation. This refers to the man of God who returns to normal consciousness after realizing the truth of Brahman. In the Viveka Chudamani, Shankara has beautifully described the condition in which the knower of Brahman lives. What says in the Viveka Chudamani? This verse says, the ocean of Brahman is full of nectar, the joy of Atman. The treasure I have found there cannot be described in words. The mind cannot conceive on it. My mind fell like a hailstone into the vast expanse of the Brahman's ocean. Touching one drop of it, I melted away and became one with Brahman. And now, though I return to human consciousness, I abide in joy of the Atman. So, all these wonderful experiences come. So, what we read is an explanation of the verse number 6, which we again, let me repeat. It says that Jajgatva Mattu Bhavati. One becomes knowing which become intoxicated. Realizing that, man becomes intoxicated. Mattu, Stabdhu Bhavati, become fascinated or become like a block of wood or just immobile, as it were. Atma Ramo Bhavati becomes completely immersed in the enjoyment of the bliss of the Atman, the truest and the highest self. So that happens. So this is the 6th verse ends here. We'll start next day, next Tuesday, on the 7th verse on page 40. So now you have any question? It is just 6:34. How can a non-believer become intoxicated with the bliss of Lord Jagannath in one glimpse, which we pray him for our whole lifetime and did not have that experience? Why can we not attain Samadhi too? Wonderful question. Yes, but we are seeing that in this life only, I am calling upon God, oh God, give me Bhishana, I am doing Japahan 1000, I did yesterday 500. We are doing so much. But this person who had the vision, he may have done more than that in the last life. Because one is born now, younger, is not younger in this journey. He has started the journey much earlier, and he has done in previous birth. That is to be understood. So why then, some of us come to the spiritual life at the age of 70, 60, 50. Someone comes at the age of 10. Someone comes from the very birth. So these are because we have a past life, and someone has done tremendous spiritual practice. As a result, is born with the innate characteristic. And because you are so close to God, little bit was left. and then he had the vision. So all of us will have the same. So we should be up and doing now to do more japa, more prayer, more love for God, more singing and dancing in the name of God. Understand? Okay.
One question.
Acha, let me see. Another question is there.
Here.
Uh,
Ashton.
ঠিক আছে তো? Since the experience of God is given by the grace of God, does it mean there is nothing a person can do to be worthy of this grace? It's a very important question. Yes, experience of God is given by the grace of God, but grace comes to whom? Even if grace comes to me, I will not be able to understand. That means we must have to prepare ourselves. God is all the time. You know, Vedanta philosophy says God is just now here. Now, at this point, you can have the experience of the extreme, all the reading, what we are reading, you can have this experience now. But I'm not open to that. The Lord is seated. Ishara Sarva, in the Bhagavad Gita it says, Ishara Sarva Bhutanam Hriddese Arjuna Tishtati. Oh Arjuna, he's sitting in the heart of all, now and here, all the time. But why don't I see? Because there is a veil of ignorance between me and him. Suppose someone is sitting just here in the next door, 1.5 inch difference of the plywood, this difference. But I don't see him. But I will have to overcome this obstacle. That's why let us do more prayer, more meditation, more japa, more sincere effort to get his grace. His grace is already there. So we should have to be ready for that. I think that is the point. Yes, then there is much things. What is worthy of this grace is that we prepare ourselves. When the cool breeze comes, and I am putting on my body a heavy jacket, and I'm sweating inside, I say, oh, where is grace? And the grace is touching this heavy jacket, but not my body. So take out the jacket. Those are our obstacles. So we will have to be off with them and pray more intensely and do our sadhana. And grace is there at any moment. It needs a split second. Realization does not need anything. It can come at any moment, at any point. By only we have to be, that moment mind should be just, veil is lifted. One veil, lifting of the veil. If that comes, so we'll have to wait. That's why it is said that be ready all the time. God's grace can come any point. You may be walking, you can get a vision. Many people say, I was sitting in the garden and just flash came. No? That day I referred about Rabindranath Tagore. He was sitting in his corridor, not corridor, in the brother's home, Jyotirindra's home. That was rented house, maybe in Chaurangi in Calcutta. And he get up in the morning and he was chanting the Gayatri mantra as taught by his father early morning. And when he came out and he was seeing the sun rising. And when the sun was rising and on the top of the tree, it is just coming up, beautiful color and removing the darkness. Suddenly, he felt, in his own word, Rabindranath Tagore's own word, a veil dropped from my eyes. And I experienced something. And that experience, he said, that wherever I interact, whatever I see, I find some sweetness there. Even the person who we didn't like before, he appears to me so sweet to me. And this mood continued for me, didn't leave me for 4 days. So God's vision is ready now, and it can happen in split second. We should be ready. We should make ourselves ready only. Okay?
Also more as the
Still we are praying only for God's Shuddha Bhakti, but the mind thinks about kids and family members while we are in this. Yes, when you are thinking of the kids and family members, think that it is not kid. It is God himself in the kid. and God Himself in the family members. So it is a service, all goes to God. There is nothing but God. Then Suddha Bhakti will come. Yes. What is it?
More as like the grace may be there, but we don't realize because in the life of Madhusudan Saraswati, and he was, praying, and nothing was happening, and he was so frustrated, just give up everything. Started walking, a saint came, so why are you so discouraged? He said, well, all these years I'm doing nothing. So he said, well, if you want that, something so tangible, how about you want to see a ghost? All you have to do is just sit there for 1 hour, 1 year. So he said, okay, fine, let me see somebody. 1 year passed, nothing happened. He started leaving. So then this saint called the ghost and said, why didn't you appear before Govishwara Saraswati? As the ghost said, I tried many times to appear, but he has built up so much aura and grace of God and protection, I could not approach.
Right.
And that's what the saint said, that you don't realize. You have built up all that, but they're so subtle.
Yeah. That's why it is to be understood that we have to do our practice. And that's also, Premolata, what you are asking, that how can we avoid this way of family feeling? It is a practice. From morning onward, if I can start practicing, that is whatever I am doing, this world is God's world. I have not created the world. I have not created this body. I did not create my husband. I did not create my wife. I didn't create my children. I didn't create my friends. It is all God has created. So whatever, if I think that whatever I am doing is only going to God, that is the greatest thing to be practiced. So always to be focused on that, and we let us practice. By God's grace, it will happen. Oma, again. Okay, one another. How do we conquer the mind? Read Raja Yoga. How do we conquer? This is the way to conquer. The loving God, praying to God, practicing, and all the spiritual practice, what we talked about in the Narada Bhakti Sutra. We'll read those, how to practice. They are said. Simple thing, repeat the name of Lord, chant the name of the Lord and His glories unceasingly, like that. Okay? So practice, practice, practice. There is nothing more to say excepting this simple formula. We have to practice, and God's grace is there, will appear. But because our barrier is too strong, our ignorance is too strong, we'll have to work harder and harder and harder. And pray and cry and weep. We are reading Bhakti Yoga, then all the darkness, all the dirt and dust of mind will be off from us. Okay, we end here. Thank you all for attending, and we'll again meet at what time? 7:30 in the class of Nectar of the Supreme Bliss, Nectar of Supreme Knowledge. Yoga Vasishta, we'll see that. Jai Ma. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat Sri Ram Krishna Arpanamastu. Thank you all.
Thank you, Swamiji. Thank you very much.